This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Tuesday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey. Here's what's making headlines on this April 7th. A coronavirus outbreak at the Madison County Nursing Home has led to nearly a dozen deaths. How the state is stepping in to treat those infected and address safety. Governor Holcomb's new COVID-19 restrictions on retailers are now in effect. We're breaking down the changes you can expect the next time you go shopping. And people are encouraged to stay at home because of the pandemic. But what about the workers that depend on going into other people's homes? What one local company is doing to make sure that their employees are staying safe. But first, we do want to get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by this morning with a look at radar. Todd, what can we expect?
You know, it's pretty active this morning across northern portions of Indiana, Lauren. Not too active at all throughout central portions of the state and down as you get closer to the Ohio River. So all these storms this morning, as we expected, are going to be in northern locations, just kind of clipping the Peru area. Heavy downpour just south of Peru, north of Bunker Hill. This is going to be sliding down there towards Indiana 218 in southern portions of Miami County. And then just across the county line as you make your way over into the Waltz area, some heavier downpours. But all that is going to push off into Ohio. It is not going to move further to the south. The further south you get away from that cluster of storms, the skies are a little bit clearer. For most of us, it's a quiet morning, and that's the way it stays through the daytime hours today. And today is also the warmest day of the entire week. Temperatures are in the 50s and 60s right now across the area. We're looking at high temperatures today that'll be topping off in the mid 70s across most of the area. It's none of the question, with enough sunshine, southern locations, you could make a run at 80 degrees. However, overnight tonight, a cold front heads our way. Another chance of storms. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on traffic as you're heading out the door this morning. Here's a look right now, a little north of downtown, rather on the west side, I-465 and West 21st Street. Traffic over here is moving along up to speed. You can see a few headlights on your screen. Just checked the map, and there are no crashes to report right now around central Indiana, so that is good news if you do have to head out there this Tuesday. Well, this morning, we're learning more about the impacts of COVID-19 right here in central Indiana. More than 500 new cases across the state have been reported. The total number now sits just below 5,000. Nearly 2,000 of those are in Marion County. According to the Indiana State Department of Health, 11 more Hoosiers have died, bringing the total number of deaths to 139. More than 26,000 people have tested for the virus so far. This morning, the state says nearly a dozen people have died because of a significant outbreak at a Madison County nursing home. Indiana State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box says 11 Bethany Point residents have died. 3 employees are also hospitalized from COVID-19, 2 of them critically, according to Dr. Box.
Our team is facilitating the transfer of asymptomatic residents from this part of the facility to another skilled nursing facility.
The state says it's tested all residents in a specific part of the Bethany Point nursing home where the COVID-19 outbreak had occurred. If anyone else tests positive for the coronavirus, they will remain quarantined at Bethany Point and will not be moved to another facility. Earlier this week, Governor Holcomb extended the stay-at-home order for another 2 weeks. That's obviously having a huge impact on non-essential businesses. Our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning with more on how they're adapting to those changes. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. So when the governor extended that order, he says no customers are allowed inside non-essential businesses. So now those businesses are having to come up with new strategies so they can stay in business. We spoke with Sarah Gillespie at Gillespie Florist, and she says she appreciates the governor's new guidelines because it will keep her and her staff safe while allowing them to stay in business. She says they've been following the new guidelines for quite some time.
Delivery service is something we do all year long. But the curbside service is something that we rolled out on the 25th, and our storefront is closed, but we can bring flowers out to our customers there at the door.
Businesses like grocery stores, pharmacies, and some businesses in the transportation industry can still operate as normal, with customers allowed to still go in and shop and pay for their goods, though many stores are taking it upon themselves to limit how many people can go inside at a time. Now, businesses that are not deemed a necessity of life can remain open, again, as long as no customers are going inside. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Starting today, Kroger is limiting the amount of customers in its stores. The company says it's one more way to help flatten the curve while still operating as an essential business. Under normal building codes, capacity is one person per 60 square feet. Under the new limits, the number will be one person per 120 square feet. Kroger says it will monitor customers by using infrared sensors and analytic technology. Kroger joins a growing list of stores that have already implemented these similar rules, including Costco, Walmart, and Target. Some home repair jobs cannot be put off, but how can you be sure that people who are going and coming to work into your home, that they're not bringing in germs? Our Alyssa Donovan spoke to one business who's taking extra precautions to keep you and their workers safe.
There are certain things you can't put on hold during a stay-at-home order. Some of those might include necessary home repairs, like if a pipe burst or your foundation needs to be repaired. But some local businesses are taking necessary precautions so all of that work can get done while you stay safe. Are you experiencing any coronavirus symptoms?
That is a screening question that we are asking at time of appointment.
Jonas Murphy says it's a new part of the protocol for their team at Indiana Foundation Services. The structural repair company is considered an essential business. Checking if a client is feeling well before coming to their home to work is a necessity right now for both the homeowner and their crew members. And when they arrive, they gear up.
Proper protection equipment. So Tyvek suits, respirator masks, gloves, eye protection.
Most of the work they perform is outside or underneath the house, but they often have to go inside for inspections. They've adjusted to that process as well if the homeowner is high risk or uneasy about having others in their house.
We're able to get the inspection done with no interaction. We can inspect the home. We have actually taken advantage of technology and we've set up whether a Skype call or a FaceTime and be able to review what the findings were, talk through what the recommended repairs would be, and be able to conduct business using technology.
One of the top questions Indiana Foundation Services is receiving from their clients is, how am I going to pay for this? Often the work they do is time sensitive and can't wait until after the coronavirus is no longer a threat. That's why they are offering finance plans for anyone during this time. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. The time right now is 5:07 after a tiger at the Bronx Zoo tested positive for COVID-19. The Indianapolis Zoo says that it's taking more precautions when caring for their animals. In a release, the zoo says that they are monitoring all of the animals daily for symptoms of the virus. Zookeepers are also being divided into teams so they don't interact, and they're using protective gear. The Indianapolis Zoo says that they have 4 other cases outside of the U.S. where animals were infected with COVID-19. The Bronx Zoo tiger is expected to recover. The Purdue community is working together to help provide much-needed medical supplies to Indiana hospitals. Staff members and graduate students in the Bechtel Innovation Center are making things like safety glasses, face shields, disposable connectors for ventilators, and N95 masks that can be easily disinfected. Team members are working closely with IU Health, IU School of Medicine, and Franciscan Health to develop plans for those supplies.
One of the things that I think we're trying to do is really address a critical need for our state. I want to remind people that, we are not going to be a healthcare system's exclusive provider of this. We aren't able to produce those kinds of volumes. However, I do believe we can help them in a situation where maybe their supplier can't deliver to them for a few days and they've run out of something.
The supplies are expected to be delivered to hospitals this week. It's 5:09 on our Tuesday. Let's check in with Todd and get a look at today's forecast.
It's a pretty good forecast for us actually throughout the day. Today you'll hear the mention of storms, but just know that we're going to time them out pretty well for you, and not everybody is going to see them. The storms this morning, while there is some rain in the Peru area down towards Marion and Hartford City into Portland, all this is going to bypass us off into Ohio. So for most of you, if you do have to get out of the house this morning and one of those essential workers that have to go in. You're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies. And how about this? Temperatures that are in the upper 50s. It's really mild this morning. High temperatures today going into the 70s, 74 in Kokomo, 75 in Greenwood, approaching 80 degrees today in southern locations. That's the good news. It's warm. And the bad news is there will be some storm chances later on today. And they really don't start to ramp up until closer to 11 o'clock, and then they'll carry over into the overnight hours. And some of those storms could be strong to severe. We'll talk more about those coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Hospitals in America's hot spots are overwhelmed and still bracing for the worst to come. Coming up, how healthcare workers and funeral homes are battling COVID-19 on the front lines. And in-person voting is still on in today's Wisconsin primary despite coronavirus restrictions. Why the state's Supreme Court decided against the mayor's call to postpone that election. And here's a look on the northeast side. I-465 right now at East 56th Street. Traffic here is pretty quiet and traveling up to speed. Stick around. We'll have more news, weather, and traffic coming up just after the break.
The Modern Family Finale, ABC Wednesday.
Welcome back. In the U.S., healthcare workers are bracing for the worst days yet. One nurse described working a 16-hour shift with no food or water. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the details.
This morning, hospitals in the epicenter of the pandemic swamped.
So this is a pivotal week in a pivotal place. This zip code you're standing in is ground zero.
Dr. Patrick Borden says 80% of the patients at his Brooklyn hospital are infected with coronavirus.
I made rounds up on the 8th floor of the hospital, and it looks like a war zone. You've got the staff wearing PPEs. You've got so many patients on ventilators.
Like every day I wake up, I'm like, is this nightmare going to end?
Nurse Riv Commence works at the same hospital, managing other nurses and caring for an endless number of patients.
When you think about it, it's depressing. I have many days where I walk home and I'm crying, I'm sobbing, because it's like, what else can I do to make this better?
And as hospitals trying to stay ahead of the flow of patients, the chief executive at New York Presbyterian predicts the peak will not come until the middle of next week.
We are going to expand our ICU capacity to 1,000 beds, and that puts an enormous stress on the system.
In New Orleans, where the convention center is now taking in patients, doctors say the virus doesn't discriminate, neither by race nor age.
We've intubated 23-year-olds. We've put 27-year-olds on the ventilator.
And as the number of deaths increase daily, funeral homes are now also overwhelmed.
You do 3 or 4 a week. We're doing 3 or 4 a day.
Meanwhile, just 2 miles away, Dr. Borgen is vowing not to give up.
We're going to absolutely keep going until this damn thing is over. We're not going to stop. We're not going to give up.
Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
Americans are just starting to see the benefits of the coronavirus rescue package, and more help may be on the way. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling for another $1 trillion in aid. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell agrees that Americans need more help. Pelosi says she wants to issue another round of direct payments and more money for companies to keep making payroll, while McConnell is focusing on more health care. Pelosi has vowed to get the package together in time for a House vote the next month. Today, voters in Wisconsin are facing a difficult choice: participating in the presidential primary or obey those public health warnings. Wisconsin is the only state with an election scheduled this month that's actually going through with it. All others have postponed until May or June. The state's governor tried postponing, but the order was blocked by the Republican-led Wisconsin Supreme Court. They argued that because of local offices were also on the ballot, the state needed to proceed with that voting. Britain's first Secretary of State, Dominic Raab, is filling in for Prime Minister Boris Johnson while he's in the hospital with COVID-19. Officials say Johnson has been moved to an intensive care unit in case he needs to be put on a ventilator. Raab is arriving at Downing Street on yesterday morning, for a daily cabinet meeting on the virus. He's been deputized while Johnson is hospitalized. Some car insurance companies are giving millions of dollars back to their customers because of the pandemic. They say it's because people are driving less during the stay-at-home orders. Allstate says that it will refund about 15% of the premiums paid in April and May, totaling $600 million. American Family Insurance is giving back about $50 per car. That's about $200 million. Both companies say they are also expanding coverage for customers who use their own vehicles to deliver food and medicine. Here at 517 5:17. We got to get a check of our Tuesday forecast. Todd, are we going to be able to get outside today?
A lot of hours to get outside today. In fact, I encourage it with temperatures that'll be the warmest all week, anywhere from about 75 to 80 degrees today. We are dealing with some rain this morning to the north and some thunderstorms as well. Nothing severe up here, but just some heavy rainfall, especially if you head up I-69 through Grant County and further north towards Fort Wayne this morning if you have to. But all this is racing off towards the east pretty quickly. Just kind of grazed our viewing area here in our counties to the north this morning, and that'll soon push off into Ohio. As you work your way across the rest of central Indiana, you see partly to mostly cloudy skies, and off to our west, there's not a whole lot going on, but this little band of rain up here to the north, that's what's going to come through late tonight and into tomorrow morning, giving us another threat of severe weather. 61 right now in Indy, as well as Bloomington, 58 in Lafayette, 57 in Tipton, just changed to 58. It's just going to be a nice, comfortable morning temperature-wise. Highs today all the way into the mid to upper 70s. In fact, some locations with enough sunshine here to the south, you could hit the 80-degree mark, about 75 the high temperature in Indianapolis. We'll toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies, but even with some clouds, that's not going to prevent the temperatures from warming into the 70s. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has almost the entire state here under the slight risk for severe weather for tonight into early Wednesday morning. Let me go over to TrueCast for you, and you can see as we work our way throughout the course of the overnight hours, watch how these storms flare up by Chicago around 7 o'clock, and then they'll start to sag slowly south throughout central Indiana during the overnight hours. So this is an overnight event for most of us. So many of you will be sleeping when these storms move through. Have the Storm Shield app or a weather radio handy in case there are some warnings issued overnight. And some of these storms could be fairly intense as they move from north to south across the area. They should be out by the morning commute tomorrow. That's the good news. The main threat, I think, actually with these storms will be the potential for some large hail. The secondary threat will be gusty winds. The lowest threat, but not completely out of the equation, will be the chance of an isolated tornado, but isolated is probably the key word there. I think hail is definitely the biggest threat going forward. Tomorrow, those storms move out, still around 72 degrees, then much colder air works its way in for Thursday and Friday. But with the colder air, it will be sunny, and then for Saturday, back into the upper 50s. Easter Sunday, Lauren, we're looking at a high around 60 degrees.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic. This is I-465 near Man Road on the southwest side. Traffic is picking up a little bit this morning, as you can see here, both eastbound and westbound. No crashes, no delays right now on your roads to slow you down. With ventilators in high demand across the country, a group of college engineers have found a creative alternative. Auburn researchers announcing that they discovered a way to make ventilators out of CPAP machines. Their design can reinvent the CPAPs in as little as 4 hours and only costs $700 extra in parts. CPAP machines are commonly used for patients with sleep apnea, and they're very common. The FDA has approved the design and gave healthcare providers guidance on how to use the reinvented device. Facebook is joining the fight against the coronavirus. The social media platform is working with researchers to use its data to slow the pandemic. Facebook will use its tools to help predict where COVID-19 will appear next. The platform is able to analyze data on population movement and the effectiveness of lockdown orders. Facebook says the tools do not violate personal privacy. Rather, the data shows patterns at a city or county level that can be useful to public health. Google unveiled a similar effort last week. Entertainers are also working to help find answers to the coronavirus. Elton John announcing that he created a $1 million emergency fund to focus on the risks with those with HIV and AIDS. He's accepting applications for solutions that can address the specific challenges for those individuals. John also said that he wants to make sure that those with HIV and AIDS are still able to access their care and treatment during this pandemic. People across the world are working to flatten the curve and practice social distancing. So after the break, one man is making sure that others know just how far the 6-foot requirement really is. And let's take a look right now at traffic. This is I-465 and US 40 Washington Street over there on the east side. You can see traffic is pretty quiet this morning. We'll keep our eyes on your roads as you're heading out the door this Tuesday and keep you updated on the other side of the break. Stick around. Welcome back. It is 5:25 on your Tuesday. Here's a live look at I-65 near State Road 267. Traffic here to our northwest is traveling up to speed in both directions. No crashes or delays around the metro area to slow you down this morning. So many people are creating their own masks to keep them safe during the coronavirus outbreak, but a Michigan man decided to create something different, a social distancing device. Dan Cunley says it's not always easy to tell how far away 6 feet is. So to help people understand their boundaries, he and his wife designed this kooky contraption out of tent poles and duct tape.
People immediately knew what this was, the social distancing. I didn't have to say much.
Well, in addition to keeping himself at a safe distance, Cunley says that he's also glad that his contraption is spreading some smiles. That would make you laugh if you saw him walking down the street, Todd.
All right,
pretty creative there.
Going up the Monon, though, might be a little difficult there.
Yeah, he may take up the whole trail.
Be knocking people over, but...
Oh, man.
So... he's into it, though.
Yeah.
All right. Outside right now, we're dealing with quiet conditions across most of central Indiana. It's nice and mild, 50s and 60s. You will see a little green there on Storm Team 6 radar, just clipping some of our northern counties. And that is a little bit of rain, but the heaviest of the rain is going to stay up towards Fort Wayne and then move off towards Ohio. It's a mild start. It's going to be a mild or even warm finish, if you want to call it that, as temperatures will be topping off in the 70s throughout the day. The daytime hours today are completely dry. Get outside. Tonight, though, the threat is strong. So severe storms will re-enter the forecast. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit.
Todd, thank you. The government is offering some additional assistance to those filing for unemployment benefits during this pandemic. Just ahead on Good Morning Indiana, the extra money they will be soon paying out. It is 5:27. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Work weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5:30 here on Good Morning Indiana, Governor Holcomb issuing a new executive order in response to the growing number of COVID-19 cases in Indiana. Working for you, we're breaking down what you need to know this morning. And complaints are pouring into the Indiana Attorney General's office about stores inflating prices during the pandemic. We're looking into what could be causing price hikes like this. But first, here at 5:30, we do want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen standing by with a look at your forecast. And Todd, what do we need to grab today?
You know, grab the sunglasses, and you may need a light jacket here this morning. But other than that, you're in pretty good shape. I did not highlight the umbrella or the rain boots for any big puddles out there, despite the fact that you will hear me mention that there's storms in the forecast. But the reason why I didn't highlight those is we're really just timing things out well, at least with the daytime hours. There's some rain this morning and even some thunderstorms here that just went through the Peru area. They're now pushing off towards the Huntington area and will quickly make their way off into Ohio. They will not progress any further to the south. So most of us remain completely dry this morning, and then rain chances don't really ramp back up until late tonight after sunset. Look at these temperatures this morning. We are in the 50s. We are in the 60s, depending on where you are, right at 61 in Indianapolis and Bloomington. 58 is the current temperature in Lafayette, as well as Tipton. Where are we going today for our high temperature? Well, we're going all the way into the mid-70s. It's going to be the warmest day of the week. We'll go back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies. It's a little breezy at times, but Lauren, should be a great afternoon for you to get out and about and enjoy the mild temperatures for maybe a walk through the neighborhood.
All right, looking forward to that, Todd. Thank you so much. As folks are heading out on the roads this morning, maybe heading to work, we do have a traffic alert for drivers in the Greenfield area. You can see our camera here near the rest area. As you're traveling near State Road 9 to our east, heading westbound this morning, you'll notice one lane is blocked. This is for emergency repairs, so you'll need to take it easy as you head through that spot. Looks like traffic is still moving along up to speed, though, so that is good news. Taking you out to I-70, a little east of State Road 267. We did have some scheduled road work in this area during the week between here and Ronald Reagan Parkway. Looks like at this hour, all lanes are open, both eastbound and westbound. Traffic is traveling up to speed. At 5:32, want to get to the latest on the coronavirus outbreak here in the Hoosier State. The latest data from the state health department shows 12 new deaths. That makes a statewide total of 139. 536 more Hoosiers tested positive for COVID-19. Marion County has the most new cases with 204. So far, 26,191 Hoosiers have been tested. We expect another update from the health department later this morning.
There's no foot traffic inside of the facility going forward for all retail businesses.
Governor Holcomb is extending the stay-at-home order for another 2 weeks. There's also new restrictions for businesses. Some businesses considered non-essential can stay open now under the new guidelines that no one comes into that store. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us this morning with how businesses are adapting to changes. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. This week, I've seen a lot of creativity just in my neighborhood alone. Shops are doing curbside pickup, and even a restaurant that normally has live music had a rooftop concert for people to enjoy from inside their vehicles. This week, we talked to Sarah Gillespie, who owns Gillespie Florist, and she says, as a florist, they have always done delivery, but starting about a week ago, they started offering curbside pickup. The new orders announced on Monday impact businesses like florists, bookstores, craft stores, and beauty supply stores.
These things are not necessities of life, but we've created a category that allows them to continue operating under new conditions and restrictions. Specifically, the inside of the store has to be closed to customers.
I don't think that there's going to be a long-term effect on the business, but I do think that when the stay-home order is lifted, it's going to take a couple of weeks to normalize to our new normal, whatever that will be.
Florists have been following for several days.
Gillespie says it's new and different, but she appreciates the governor's orders because it will keep her and her staff safe while allowing them to stay open for business. Again, businesses that are considered non-essential can be open, but no customers are allowed to come inside the business. They can do curbside or delivery. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. It is 5:34. Throughout this pandemic, IU Health is going to be releasing their latest numbers about COVID-19. That includes the number of people they've tested, how many positive cases they've had, including their employees, and where they are on critical supplies. This comes after so many people have been wanting to know specific numbers, especially about those who've tested negative and or recovered.
Transparency in general is good. It decreases anxiety. It removes suspicions about what's really going on.
The numbers will be updated weekly. You can go to the story in the RTV6 app to see them in their entirety. There are certain things that you can't put on pause during the stay-at-home order, and one of those may be some necessary home repairs. Our Alyssa Donovan talked to a local business that's taking extra precautions to keep you and their workers safe.
There are some home repair jobs that just can't be put off. So how can you be sure workers aren't tracking germs and coronavirus into your house? I spoke to a few local businesses that are doing everything they can to ensure you are safe. Jonas Murphy says checking if a client is feeling well before coming to their home to work, it's a new part of the protocol for their team at Indiana Foundation Services. The structural repair company is considered an essential business. Crews gear up when they arrive, wearing Tyvek suits, respiratory masks, and eye protection. Most of the work they perform is outside or underneath the house, but they often have to go inside for inspections. They've adjusted to that process as well if the homeowner is high risk or uneasy about having others in their house.
We're able to get the inspection done with no interaction. We can inspect the home. We have actually taken advantage of technology and we've set up whether a Skype call or a FaceTime and be able to review what the findings were, talk through what the recommended repairs would be, and be able to conduct business using technology.
There are some things that you can do to stay safe too. Make sure you stay 6 feet away from workers while they're in your house, preferably in another room, and when they leave, disinfect all surfaces that they touched. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. RTV6's Hiring Hoosiers is committed to sharing the latest information for those who have lost work as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. The State Department of Workforce Development says extra money and unemployment benefits will start being paid out on April 20th. The added $600 a week is part of the federal stimulus bill passed last month. People like Rhonda Wilson, who works at a tavern in Lafayette, wants to know why it will take so long. Working for you, RTV6 reached out to an attorney who specializes in employment law.
If the President has already signed this and released this package, I just don't understand why people have to wait when the help is there.
That $600 is still in play in Washington, D.C. as to when and how it will be released. We have too much work to do, too many applications to process in this period of time. This was an avalanche.
People will receive retroactive payments back to the date of their unemployment eligibility. The payment period is March 29th through July 31st. The wait for benefits from the federal stimulus bill could be even longer for Hoosiers who are self-employed or work as independent contractors. They are also eligible for the $600 payments, but the state announced today is still working on a system for those workers to apply. Well, complaints keep pouring into the Indiana Attorney General's office about stores inflating prices during the pandemic. More than 160 people have filed complaints so far against gas stations, stores, and online retailers. Allison Mendenhall bought hand sanitizer at a gas station on Franklin Road, and she was shocked to see how much it cost. $7 for a 2-ounce bottle. Typically, a bottle like this goes for less than $2. Allison filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office alleging price gouging.
Such a shortage for food, for toilet paper, of course, for any kind of necessity that's really needed right now. And I mean, people are out there making their own masks because of the shortage. People are making their own hand sanitizer. My mother-in-law had to make her own because my father-in-law has an autoimmune disease. So, you know, we're all out there trying to make it the best we can, and the least thing we want to worry about is, you know, places like that hiking the price up.
A gas station manager told us that their wholesaler is charging them more, and they're making their usual profit, not any additional profit. We checked with SE Imports and Wholesale, who told us, quote, our supplier charged us much more about a month ago than they usually did. Even these prices that we are purchasing for right now are much higher than what a traditional 2-ounce bottle used to cost us, end quote. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced IndyCar to cancel the Detroit Grand Prix, but there's some good news for race fans right here in Indianapolis. IndyCar will put on a third race at IMS this year. RTV6 Sports Director Dave First has all the details.
And Speedway President Doug Bowles joins us from his home. Here's the good news, Doug. If you like IndyCar racing, fans have 3 shots now added at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, they do. So we just added another race at the end of the season, first weekend in October, on Saturday, October 3rd. We're going to call it a Harvest GP, kind of a throwback to a race that took place in 1916 at the Speedway. As part of our GT Challenge weekend, you know, with Detroit canceling, IndyCar was looking for a place to run an additional race, and Roger said, hey, how about running at the Speedway? And I said, absolutely, let's go do it. And that's so we announced that today. We're looking forward to it.
The bottom line is this: strange times call for strange measures, and we're certainly smack dab in the middle of this. And the Speedway, if they can help the IndyCar series in whatever way, they will.
Absolutely. And, you know, for us, we wanted to be helpful as Roger and Mark Miles and Jay Fry are really navigating the entire schedule for the NTT IndyCar season. We're an easy one to say, hey, we're open that day. We're running on the road course that day. Indianapolis loves hosting the IndyCar guys. Let's bring them on back.
Bottom line, the construction will continue at some point. I mean, even though there's nothing going on at the Speedway President, I would imagine there's a ton going on right now.
You know, it's really strange. We're a lot busier now than you would think. It's in fact, this entire weekend, we worked through the weekend to get the NTT IndyCar Series schedule done, make sure we fit in it okay. And we've got stuff going on at the Speedway. We're going to be ready for fans whenever we can open up, hopefully by a Big Machine Vodka 400 weekend in July.
Thanks, Doug. Be safe.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dave. And Doug, it's Tuesday. You know what that means. It's time for Todd's Takeout Tuesday forecast. We're open. It's a partnership with RTV6 and local restaurants. And you may see this flyer in a lot of windows here across town. And Brad Brown's doing a great job of highlighting restaurants in the downtown area. I'll take you up to Broad Ripple to one of my favorite places, Fire by the Monon, tucked there just off the Monon Trail, right around 65th Street, just north of that. And if you head there, they'll bring the meals out to your car, plenty of parking, so you don't have to worry about that. My top picks there, the Nero salad, like there's some salmon on it. The tenderloin, I kid you not, right now they're sending it out in small pizza boxes. It's so big that it doesn't even fit in those little styrofoam containers. And then get Patricia's bread pudding. You will not be disappointed. If you are heading out for dinner tonight, it will be dry, or lunch for that matter, throughout the daytime hours. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Maybe find a park bench to have your takeout meal on. Storms do arrive, though, late tonight into the overnight hours. Some could be strong to severe. Storm Shield, a great tool to have. It's an app on your phone. It's free to download. It serves as a weather radio. Any warnings that get issued will come out on your phone. We'll talk more about that threat for severe weather and Maine weather coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Divers in Maryland have recovered the body of Robert F. Kennedy's granddaughter. Straight ahead, the latest on their search efforts for the 8-year-old son. And with the tiger in New York being diagnosed with COVID-19, many pet owners are asking what that means for them. After the break, we take your concerns to a local vet to get some answers. It's 5:43. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Ask your doctor about Trulicity.
Welcome back. After days of searching the Chesapeake Bay, divers have recovered the body of Maeve Kennedy Townsend McKean, the granddaughter of Robert F. Kennedy. Police say they found the 41-year-old's body in 25 feet of water and about 2.5 miles from her family's home in Shadyside, Maryland. McKean and her 8-year-old son Gideon have been missing since Thursday when they took off in a canoe. Gideon still has not been found. Crews plan to resume search efforts for him again today. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been moved to the intensive care unit at St. Thomas's Hospital in London. He's currently undergoing treatment for COVID-19. The 55-year-old was admitted to the hospital on Sunday and moved to the ICU hours later on Monday after his condition worsened. According to a spokesperson, the Prime Minister remains conscious and is not currently on a ventilator. Johnson announced that he tested positive for the virus back on March 27th, and he has had persistent symptoms since then. Dominic Raab, the first Secretary of State, is currently filling in for Johnson. Back here at home, President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden spoke on the phone Monday about COVID-19. The leaders reportedly discussed the Trump administration's response to the pandemic. It comes after the rivals have criticized each other harshly. After the call, however, both sides said that the call, which lasted about 15 minutes, went well and agreed not to share the contents of their conversation. The president did say Biden gave suggestions on how to address the ongoing pandemic. Did you ever think that you'd see a day where Los Angeles has cleaner air than Denver or Salt Lake City? Well, according to IQ's Air's live air quality city rankings, LA had the cleanest air of any major city in the world on Monday. It's followed by San Francisco, Portland, Oregon, Sydney, Australia, and Moscow, Russia. So what's going on? Well, the most likely explanation is with so many people under those stay-at-home orders, there are fewer cars on the roads. There's also less air travel and commercial activity across the board. Experts think this blip will reverse itself as soon as normal activity resumes, so enjoy it while it lasts. All right, back here at home, Todd, we got to get a look at our forecast, and it's going to be a pretty nice Tuesday.
Yeah, you know, it really will be here. Temperatures are going to be the warmest of the entire week today. The daytime hours will be completely dry today. Gives you an opportunity, once again, to get out and about. But then overnight tonight, we will enter the severe threat back into the forecast. We've been dealing with some storms this morning across northern Indiana. They are now pushing off into Ohio. They're just clipping some portions of the Marion area right now with some very heavy rainfall and a little bit of lightning. Nothing severe here. And same for Hartford City as you work your way into northern portions of Jay County. This will clip Portland with some heavy rain and a little bit of lightning, and then it pushes off into Ohio. These storms will not make their way any further down to the south. They're basically just pushing off towards the east. So that is good news for most of central Indiana. Temperatures for everybody in the 50s and 60s here this morning. It's a nice mild start to our day. 61 in Bloomington as well as Indy. Upper 50s to the north. The warm front is north of the Peru area, and that's why the rain has been across only northern portions of this state, and it's not coming to the south. The rain is basically moving along that warm front as it acts as a highway. But the front's to the north. That means we're on the warm side of things, and highs today will be climbing all the way up into the mid to upper 70s. In fact, approaching 80 degrees today in Bloomington as well as Columbus. 75 the high in Indy. 74 will be our high temperature in the Peru area. Overnight tonight, I mentioned the chance of storms. The Storm Prediction Center has almost the entire state under the slight risk for severe weather. And it's not a slam dunk case of severe weather today, but there is a front coming through. And a lot of what happens during the day, how much sunshine we see compared to overcast skies, what happens to the temperatures will determine the threat of severe weather later on tonight. So make sure you join Kevin this evening as he walks you through after we have all those variables kind of ironed out. But as this front comes through, I do think that there will be the potential overnight for these strong to severe storms to make their way through the area. The timing 1 o'clock to the north, exiting the area by about 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then we'll be left with quiet conditions for the rest of the day tomorrow. The main threat will actually be large hail with some of these storms as they come through, followed by high winds. Can't completely rule out the chance of an isolated tornado, but that's lower on the spectrum. Then the storms move through pretty quickly, so flooding is not going to be a concern with these storms as they make their way through the area. But make sure you stay weather aware overnight tonight. You have that Storm Shield app downloaded on your phone. More storms potentially Wednesday into Thursday, then much colder air Thursday and Friday, but sunshine with highs only in the 40s and 50s. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take you over to the Brownsburg area and give you a look at traffic for this Tuesday. I-70 near State Road 267. You can see traffic here is pretty quiet this morning. We'll continue to keep our eyes on your roads and keep you updated on any delays. The case of COVID-19 in a tiger at a Bronx zoo was again raising concerns about the transmission of the disease between humans and animals. Researchers say they believe the tiger caught the virus from a zookeeper. It's the first known infection case of an animal in the U.S., and we asked a local animal hospital about the possibility of animals passing the coronavirus to humans.
I think people just need to understand that we're not concerned. Veterinary experts and scientists across the world, this is a worldwide pandemic. If we were having problems with pets transmitting to people, we would see a lot more of that going on right now, and we're not seeing that.
The CDC says it's aware of a small number of pets, including dogs and cats outside of the United States, that have been infected with COVID-19 after having close contact with people diagnosed with the virus. But the agency has not received any reports of pets becoming sick with COVID-19 in the United States. And to date, there's no evidence that pets can spread the virus to people. Many people here in central Indiana are working together to help each other and bring some joy during uncertain times. After the break, a surprise that brought some cheer to an entire neighborhood. The time right now is 5:52 on your Tuesday. Stick around. We'll be right back.
WeatherTech.com, and stay safe.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana, 5:55 on your Tuesday. Here's a live look at I-74 near Thompson Road to our southeast. Traffic here is pretty quiet this morning. We'll continue to monitor any crashes or delays that might slow you down on your drive to work. Now, isn't this a nice way to start your day? Encouraging notes and smiley faces. People who live in the Lincolnwood neighborhood near Claremont on the far west side were greeted with these notes and smiles written on colored chalk on their sidewalks and driveways.
I really appreciated that. Yeah. Because, I'm stuck. You can't go nowhere. You can't go to the gym. You can't go to the store. You can't go nowhere. Somebody got a good sense of humor. That's the best way I can put it. They got a good sense of humor, and they put it all down the street.
Dozens of driveways in the neighborhood had encouraging smiles and messages, and we want to highlight people who are working together to help get us through this tough time. So feel free to email us at workingforyou@rtv6.com. I know I've seen some sidewalk chalk art, Todd, on my walks around the neighborhood. I'm impressed. Some people are a lot better at that than I am.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen some great designs on there. It takes a lot of time. We just need to keep the rain away, right? So it doesn't wash away. And we do have some rain in the forecast. You notice a little bit of it clipping a northern portion to central Indiana right now. But look at these temperatures. Nice and mild this morning. We're in the 50s and 60s. On our way up to a high of 75 degrees this afternoon. So it's very mild, a little breezy at times, partly to mostly cloudy skies. You see the thunderstorm icon. The severe threat arrives late. It's late tonight, probably after sunset, closer to midnight and then into the overnight hours. But I want to make sure you're prepared. That's why I put the icon in. We'll talk more about the severe threat coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 5:57. We're back in just a few minutes. Stay with us.